This is a piece of gold ore I discovered at an abandoned gold mine. And this is a metal detector. Now if I could just turn this on, it's even got battery. Now with a really faint response like this, it's most likely that the gold is going to be really fine. Let's just turn the loud screamy boy off. I found this amongst the discarded waste rock at an abandoned mine. And I got a little tiny signal out of it. Enough for me to think that there's going to be gold in it considering how many other gold specimens I found at the time. Whereas this rock here is completely different. This is from an untouched virgin reef that I discovered a couple of years ago. This gold was going roughly 4 grams of gold for every 20-litre bucket of ore that we crushed. But there are no chunks of gold in this, no detectable gold. It's all really super fine. So today's mission is to put these on the table saw and slab them up. My goal is to see if I can see where the gold's sitting within the rock. I don't know if we're going to see gold in either of these. I just know that when I have processed the ore from these spots, I have been getting a reasonable amount of gold for my effort. The signal on this rock seems to be coming on this edge, so I'm definitely going to take a nice thin slab off here. Hopefully it won't shatter. If it does, we can always pan out the concentrates. And then I'll probably put a couple more cuts through the rest of the rock, especially this area, which looks highly mineralized. This piece of gold ore is a little bit different. We don't have a solid piece of quartz here. What we have is a highly mineralized piece of host rock mixed with quartz veins. I don't know how well this is going to stand up to slabbing, but we're going to give it a shot. I suspect this might be incredibly loud. Once these rocks are slabbed up, we're going to get the microscope on them and see if we can't find any of the gold that's hiding within the ore. It's not the cleanest of jobs. To preempt some questions, yes, this is absolutely too small of a saw, but for $100 it works really well. Anywho, the rocks, they've slabbed up beautifully. Most of the gold in my area is microscopic fine, tiny stuff. That's why we're going to have to get the microscope on this. It's really interesting to see all the little bugs that are in this rock, as well as heavy iron staining. This little bit flew off and hit me in the chest at about 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm not sure how this one is going to saw, but we're going to try. What a mess. That second piece was disgusting to cut. And the quartz just sort of shattered off. Pretty though, real pretty. That's a good one, straight through the vein. That's perfect. That should give us a real good look at it. Out of both rocks we slabbed, this is the piece I'm most interested in. I think there's a chance of seeing gold in these ones. This one I'm not so sure about, and it's for one reason alone, that the gold in the area that I found this, at the abandoned mine, generally speaking is nugget or nothing. But we're still going to run the scope over it just in case. I'm going to stick the 200 power microscope on my phone and we'll have a look to see if we can't spot any of that really fine gold. But before I do that, I just want to give a massive thank you to Jason from Mount Baker Mining and Metals. He's the guy that originally made this video. He slabbed up some of the ore he's processing from his mine using a microscope to go and check it out. And I thought, hey, it's a really good opportunity for me to do the same thing because I'm curious to see if I can find where my gold is sitting within that structure. So thank you, Jason. And he also put me onto this, which I've left a link down below if you would like to buy your own. They're pretty cheap and they're really cool. The first piece we're checking here is that nice hidden vein piece of quartz, the one that I am really keen on.
Just gonna move the microscope around, see if we can't see any gold, and straight away, there's a piece of gold, dead center of frame right now. Sitting right in the iron. Yep. That's where I had suspected most of our gold would be. Just there, we got another little piece of gold sitting right in a fissure. And more, right on that edge. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? Gorgeous little bit of gold sitting right amongst the iron in the quartz vein. Flip it over. This is the better side in terms of the slabbing because I did a better job apparently. See if we can't see anything else. Yeah, it looks like another piece just there, about center of frame. I'm not wholly unsurprised that I found pieces of gold in this quartz, but it is super nice to see it under the microscope. This ore was incredibly rich when we were crushing a lot of it. Just going to check over a couple of the other pieces from the same slab. Look at the mineralization in those little veins. You get to the quartz, it all goes white. Yeah, and we've got more pieces right now. Again, about center of frame. They're all hiding in and on where the iron intersects the quartz. That's unbelievable how much is in those rocks. That is a tiny little fissure running through the rock with a piece of gold in it. Tiny little vein. Stunning though. Yeah, there's gold all through these rocks. I love this ore. I've got to go back and get some more. It's been a while since I've been there. Moving on to the white quartz that I detected. Now, I don't know if we're going to see gold in this. I really don't. Because like I said, it comes from a mine where I've got nuggets or nothing. But you never know, I guess. Completely different looking structure. Right on the edge of that rock, I can spot a tiny little cluster of gold flakes. So this is on the edge that was giving me the signal. It's in the iron. That's cool. Man, tiny. You gotta love VLF detectors for being able to pick up that real fine stuff, hey? It's good to see that there's potentially a lot of gold in some of these rocks, but let's crush a little piece of this up and just see what comes out. I'm going to expect to see some sulfides in here and hopefully at least a couple of little pieces of gold. Going to get some clean water. My dolly potting needs work. I definitely could have crushed that a little finer. I don't want to pan down this material. I want to see it in its entirety. And obviously you can see that we could have crushed it a lot finer, but we should still see some of the gold if we are able to pan it back carefully. Oh yeah, there's a little piece right there. See that? Just there. Nice. Not panning this down makes panning it back about 1,000,000 times harder. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of fine gold at the top too. Real fine stuff. Remember, we were using a 200 power microscope and this is just a 10 times zoom on a Fern. We've got a nice speck there. And we've got several very small specks scattered throughout the entirety of the top here. For a rock that was only about that big, this is a fantastic result. It shows that the gold is still obviously in the ore that we've been collecting. We have got previously very good results from that ore. And I'm thinking to myself now that it's worth going back and probably chasing a few more buckets of it and processing. It's been a little while since I've done that. But more importantly, we learned exactly where the gold is hanging out. It's not hanging out in the quartz, it's hanging out in the fault lines surrounding the quartz. Hopefully you've learned something. I know I definitely have today. If you're interested in grabbing those slabs, I've got them up as sets on the Old Moldy website right now.